Flooding in Scott County closes a restaurant and leaves several families with damage to their homes.
Just what we don't need. More showers and thunderstorms on the way to central and eastern Kentucky. We'll talk about the high water and severe weather threat coming up.
How do post-game arrests and injuries compare to that in years past? We're talking with police, crunching the numbers.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
It has been a day of cleanup for people dealing with flood damage. Heavy rain last Thursday and Friday caused waters to rise across the state.
In Scott County, the Elkhorn Creek left its banks and flooded several homes. WKYT's Victor Puente talked to those cleaning up today in our top story at 5.
When the water started rising here at the North Elkhorn Creek, the people at the businesses and homes nearby had no idea it would get to its highest level in almost 20 years.
So what you got is the water came up through here, and you can see where it made a path. This debris was floating in it, and that's where it got deposited.
Ben Torkelson spent Friday night moving his water heater, so the water pouring into his crawl space didn't damage it. For at least 5 of his neighbors, having water heaters that couldn't be moved led to cold showers. Those heaters were lifted by the water, and in some cases, that damaged the plumbing running to them.
These ones all had their water heaters in the basement, and they didn't get taken out. And a lot of them floated and tipped over and broke the pipes.
These pictures show how that water hit the Arby's next to the creek. The muddy parking lot gives you an idea as to what they're dealing with today. Employees have spent the day tossing product into the dumpster after it was ruined by water. Across the street at the Elkhorn Plaza, the water made getting into some businesses difficult, but it never made it into any of those buildings. The owners said they hadn't seen it this high since 1997. At the bridge over the creek, state road workers used a backhoe to loosen some debris stuck beneath the bridge. Torkelson spent the day helping his neighbors after being told his home was in the 100-year floodplain.
And what do you know, I've been here 8 months, and now we got it. So I guess we're good for another 100 years, supposedly, huh?
A district manager for Arby's told me they've had contractors coming and going all day. He said they hope to be back in business sometime this week. In Scott County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The owners of the Elkhorn Plaza said they raised the buildings on their property after that flood in 1997. Franklin County remains under a state of emergency because of flooding. Officer Don flew over the area in Sky First this afternoon. You can see from this video he shot the Kentucky River is really high. It's crested rather at around 36 feet and should start going down again soon. Well, those recovering from flooding could use a few dry days.
They sure could. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen this week. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is here to talk about a rainy forecast. Chris?
Yeah, rounds of showers and thunderstorms, guys, gearing up again. Right on cue. Talked about this threat last week, that basically each and every day this week you had the chance to see some more showers and storms. Unfortunately, that continues to look to be the case. Live First Alert Defender, everything in motion as of now. Showers, thunderstorms across southern Kentucky. Some heavy downpours there. Another little round into far northern parts of the area, but most of the hard-hit areas from the flooding a couple of nights ago, not seeing a whole lot now. Fingers crossed that's a trend that carries us in for at least a little while longer. I don't see it completely going through the next 24 hours, though. Live First Alert Defender, southern Kentucky. That's a heavy little burst of some rain. Now cruising to the south of Monticello, heading toward Whitley City. Good folks into Williamsburg. You'll pick up on some heavier downpours coming up here in the next little bit. Again, zipping right across and north of the Kentucky-Tennessee border counties. I-64, not a whole lot out there, though. A couple of sprinkles to the northwest of Frankfort, about all she wrote. Showers, thunderstorms here in northern Kentucky. But if you're out and about this evening, a lot of dry times out there. A lot of the areas should remain on the dry side, though the chance is there for a little isolated shower thunderstorms. Certainly southern Kentucky, you have a greater risk than everybody else as of now. Temperatures stay into the low 60s right on through 11 o'clock. Weather headlines as we look ahead, I see some big boomers coming down the road, especially for the second half of the week when we have to keep an eye on the heavy rain threat and also the severe weather threat. Overall, this is a week that is more typical of May as opposed to the first full week of April. I've got warm and humid air. Guys, when you get warm and humid air this early in the season, chances are that's going to lead to some more strong and maybe severe thunderstorms. I'll break down who has the best chance of seeing both the heavy rain and the severe threat when I come back in 10 minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. UK's Final Four loss didn't stop Big Blue fans from taking to the streets of Lexington Saturday night.
And before it was all over, dozens of people ended up arrested, in jail, or the hospital. So how do those numbers compare to last year? WKYT's Kristen Kennedy shows us.
1,500 students packed State Street Saturday night. The crowd mourning a Final Four loss together. Looked like it had a few rough spots, but officers out there say they were less rowdy than in years past.
Initially, the crowd was very down in the dumps, of course, because we had just experienced a loss, and then once some small fires started and some rock throwing and some fights started in the crowd, and that's when the mood started to change.
Police spokesperson Sherelle Roberts says officers arrested 31 people for charges like alcohol intoxication and disorderly conduct.
It's really a small number of people in the crowd who were doing these dangerous activities, and so we went into the crowd, extracted them, and then arrested them.
Firefighters on State and Elizabeth reported small fires, none of which they say damaged any cars or homes.
And what we were seeing for the most part was people who were really highly intoxicated to the point that they were proving to be a danger to themselves or others.
Firefighters say they transported less than half a dozen individuals to UK Hospital. Roberts says most of those injuries were for cuts to the face or hands and feet. The cause of the cuts? Broken glass bottles. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
And because no property was significantly damaged Saturday night, police say they do not foresee any other arrests coming out of the weekend. Big honor today for UK coach John Calipari and a former Wildcat.
Both are being given a place in college basketball history. WKYT's Rob Bromley's here to explain. Hi, Rob.
Hey there, a new class for the Naismith Hall of Fame, and Coach John Calipari and UK All-American Louis Dampier are both going in. Formal announcement late this morning in Indianapolis. Cal has won more than 600 games in his career, 23 seasons as a head coach. He's taken 6 teams to the Final Four, including 4 of the last 5 years at Kentucky. Louis Dampier, an All-American at UK back in the mid-60s. He went on to be a star in the American Basketball Association. Both men humbled by the honor.
My dad always said, it's okay to feel phony, just don't be phony. And to be here with these guys in the dinner last night, it's just surreal for me. It's not something I've ever thought about or thought would happen, and you know, so the call kind of overwhelmed me.
How's that jump shot these days? Still knocking them down, regularity?
It's called a set shot now.
Set shot.
And both men so deserving. The induction ceremony is September 10th through 12th in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Rob, thank you. Coach Calipari and Dampier are 2 of 11 new inductees into the Naismith Hall of Fame.
A final goodbye today for a woman who died in last week's storms. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Lee County. 63-year-old Lois McGovern died when high water swept her car on Kentucky 52. Her funeral was held this afternoon at the Newman Funeral Home in Beattyville. McGovern was an Army veteran. A Madison County man ended up in jail after police say he was involved in 2 hit-and-run crashes. Richmond police say that John Farthing ran into a car on East Main Street and didn't stop. We're told he hit a second car on East Main and tried to run away. When officers caught up with him, they say they found 3 needles on him, one of which contained heroin. He faces drug and traffic charges. 5 months ago, Rolling Stone magazine shocked the country with a story about a brutal gang rape at the University of Virginia.
But today, a review by the Columbia University Journalism School officially discredited the article. As Marley Hall shows us, the school also issued a blistering critique of the magazine's editorial practices.
The review finds Rolling Stone's story about a brutal campus rape was a journalistic failure.
It was the collective fault of the reporter, the editor's supervisor, and the fact-checking department.
The article last November was a shocking account from a woman identified only as Jackie. She described a gang rape at the University of Virginia's Phi Kappa Psi fraternity. But the Columbia Journalism School investigation faults Rolling Stone for failing to contact Jackie's friends or her accused attackers.
The critique comes from one of the country's most prestigious journalism schools. Rolling Stone requested the review but called it painful reading.
The magazine pledged to review editorial practices but said it has no plans to fire the reporter. Sabrina Rubin Erdely, who released a statement writing, "I allowed my concern for Jackie's well-being, my fear of re-traumatizing her, and my confidence in her credibility to take the place of more questioning and more facts."
It was, as we pointed out in the report, questions of putting the burden of the entire story almost entirely on a single source.
Weeks ago, Virginia police said they'd found no evidence of a crime, and Rolling Stone says it is now officially retracting its story. But Phi Kappa Psi says the article was reckless and defamatory, and the frat is now pursuing legal action. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
UVA's president called the article irresponsible journalism that unjustly damaged the reputations of many innocent individuals and the university. 2 stores have removed Bluebell ice cream from their shelves. Kroger and Sam's Club have stopped selling the ice cream as a precaution. Bluebell issued a recall last month after ice cream contained with listeria was linked to 3 deaths in Kansas. They tracked the problem to production lines at the plants in Texas and Oklahoma.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
The case in the Boston Marathon bombing has gone to the jury now. Deliberations began following a day of closing arguments. Prosecutors told the jury that Johar Tsarnaev and his brother Tamerlan coordinated their attacks to maximize terror. The April 2013 bombings killed 3 people and injured more than 250 others. The defense argued that without Tsarnaev's brother, there would not have been an attack. Tsarnaev's lawyers have admitted he is guilty. They're trying to convince the jury not to give him the death penalty. The White House is going on the offensive on a deal with Iran over its nuclear program. The president announced a framework had been negotiated last week. The final details are still being worked out. Next week, the Senate will consider a bill allowing it to review and reject the final agreement. The president says he would veto such legislation.
People in California must now conserve water to fight a 4-year drought. The requirement comes as one community deals with possibly running out of water altogether. Mariposa County's drinking supply comes from a nearby lake, which is only at 9% capacity. The reservoir could be mostly empty by September.
As this reservoir continues to drop, we may get to the point where there is no water to release. And that's a very scary proposition, but it's also a proposition that's staring us straight in the eye.
All across California, people have been ordered to cut their water usage by 25%. A spring tradition took place at the White House today. The president and first lady hosted the annual Easter egg roll. Tens of thousands of people came to the White House South Lawn for the event. This year's egg roll also celebrated the 5th anniversary of Michelle Obama's Let's Move program. In addition to the egg roll, there were sports and fitness zones and cooking demonstrations.
Singer Josh Groban will perform the national anthem at this year's Kentucky Derby. It's an upgrade for Groban, who previously only attended the event as a spectator. He'll be the 7th person to sing at the Derby. The tradition started in 2009. The Derby is set for Saturday, May 2nd. 2 families from Canada made a 2,000-mile trip for a taste of Kentucky Fried Chicken. The men and their sons left Canada on Thursday. They arrived in the Bluegrass State on Saturday afternoon. They visited Colonel Sanders' birthplace and burial place before arriving at the restaurant in Corbin. The Times-Tribune reports the group stayed a couple of hours, then drove the 34 hours back to Montreal.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Programs like Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, and Nutrisystem have become popular among people trying to drop pounds. But do they really help people keep the weight off long term? Don Champion has the answer.
Yoga was not always easy for Nairi Karogian. 2 years ago, the 43-year-old was recovering from Hodgkin's lymphoma and was overweight. Today, she's 22 pounds lighter.
My lifestyle really started to change because of Weight Watchers.
Now, a review of 11 commercial weight loss programs finds Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig are the most effective for helping people lose weight and keep it off.
On average, Weight Watchers participants lost at least 8 pounds at the 12-month mark. Participants in Jenny Craig, on average, lost at least 15 pounds at the 12-month mark.
Researchers say though the average weight loss is modest, the health benefits are significant
For some people, a commercial program might be the right answer for them. So I think it has to be something that physicians consider as part of their arsenal or their toolbox in thinking about weight management. However, they're not necessarily the right answer for all patients.
Karogian loves the smartphone app that tracks her food and activity and says she regularly attends meetings.
I interact, I get support, I can raise my hand and talk about things, get advice.
She's now a yoga instructor. Weight Watchers magazine even featured her story. Don Champion, CBS News, New York.
Catching a baby off guard can help them learn. Researchers showed 11-month-old objects in both predictable and surprising situations. When the objects did something surprising, those surprises made them more inquisitive. And if you've been thinking about getting an electric car, now might be a good time. The first generation of electric cars have started showing up on the used car market. About 25,000 previously leased Chevy Volts and Nissan Leafs will go up for sale this year. The cars will cost about a third of their original sales price.
Going to be great deals for 3-year-old, barely used electric vehicles.
There are some drawbacks to used electric cars. The battery in an aging car may have decreased range.